Hey everyone, just spent my first week on the hero's journey, a fresh Everquest emulation server with a massive player base, unique mechanics, and some wild surprises. This video is all about my experience as a total noob, what I learned, what I wish I knew, and what I wish I knew before I started playing. Before creating my character on the hero's journey, I did a little bit of research, come up with some of the most popular class combos. And Necromancer, Magician, and Beastlord was the best try class that I could find, or I shouldn't say the best, but the easiest. And that's because you get 3 pets. Everything you do for those pets affects those pets, and you pretty much just sit back and watch the pets do all the work. One of the other popular combinations I found was Shadow Knight Cleric Monk, where you're tanky, self-sustaining, and have excellent melee damage. Think of a dual-wielding Shadow Knight. Pretty cool. There's a lot of different combos that you could try, and a lot of combos I do hope to try. Instead of just taking one of the easy routes, I decided to basically, since I've played a hunter in World of Warcraft, I wanted to replicate that experience using this multi-class feature on the hero's journey. So what I did is I built a Beastlord Ranger Mage, thinking that the Beastlord and the Mage pet would be able to tank while the Ranger sat back and did a lot of bow damage. That didn't quite work out the way I expected. Well, I had this nice vision of just sitting back and bowing shit, and my pet's doing all the tanking. The pets had a really hard time holding aggro, especially once I upgraded my bow. This caused me a lot of hardships and a lot of deaths because having no gear, not much hit points, not be able to tank very well. Once my pets lost aggro on some of the things I was fighting, I pretty much would die shortly after. And although I was able to make it through the level 50, once I hit level 50, tried to face off against Lord Nagafen, I got completely destroyed, like absolutely destroyed. My pets did not hold any aggro almost whatsoever against him the first try. And the only reason I went and tried him is because people made it seem like a level 50 could be able to easily kill Vox and Nagafen. And I found out that was somewhat true if you had certain things like maybe a few AA or some gear. One thing I noticed joining the server is that the leveling here is insanely fast, and I think I must have joined during a bonus XP event. Even without that bonus XP, I thought the first 50 levels were extremely quick, and it was kind of a little bit disheartening that they went so fast because it seemed like I was continuously going back to the bazaar to try to buy new pets and new spells all the time, and I'm just trying to learn the game and relax. So it was actually pretty intense the first 50 levels, I'll say. Trying to go back and get all your spells and all that stuff in order. I would have liked to have seen this go at a lot slower pace so that you can actually experiment with the multi-classing at the lower levels. But you're talking, I did my 1 through level 10 in Black Burrow. It was done before I realized it. Then I went to Unrest, to levels 10 through 20. 20 to 35 or 40, I went to Castle Mistmore. And then from 40 to 50 was in Soul A. 40 to 45 was spent maybe on the spiders and the bat area. And then 45 to 50, I just sat at Afridi the whole time and got to level 50 there. I did go to Guk, but like I said, I had problems with my pets holding aggro. And after I pulled 5 a couple times on accident, that was that. I was just not going to run back. Finding the teleportation stones was a little bit harder than I thought. There's probably like a guide or a fact and all this information, but I wanted to explore this on my own. And I didn't find too many. Some of them were at Druid ranks, some were in obvious spots, but that's one of the reasons I gave up on Guk is because I didn't run across the stone at any time on the way to running to that area. So once you die, you port back to Bazaar or whatnot, then you have to run your ass back, and some of that was too long for a run for me. So I do plan to probably look up where some of these stones are because it's probably not that difficult, but just from an obvious standpoint of trying to play and get to these zones, I did not find too many. So as I was saying, making the huge mistake with thinking my pets would actually tank, even with taunt, even with like nullhide lariats or rocking weapons. Like they have on the Rangers, a lot of the bow A, I think you have archery master like 2 out of 3. So your bow does like 66% damage or 60% or something like that. Then you have endless quiver and some other stuff. And so like the bow damage wasn't that bad starting out. And since everything is kind of tradable and stuff like that, I was able to find like a 66 over 35 delay bow, and that just made things awful from the standpoint of I'm basically going to be tanking this stuff myself instead of having my pets tank. I was able, and I am working on fixing that. I think I have like 75 AA now, and most of it is like pet flurry and pet crit. So I'm hoping that when I max all the levels of flurry, and I also got an essence of nature, which is like a pet focus item that increases the strength of the pets, make it higher level and probably do some other stuff. that's actually helping where my pets will actually hold aggro unless I go ape shit with my bow. So there is some positive aspect of that. I am actually farming AA just for my pet DPS right now, and then I'll probably do like pet survivability after, and then I'll go into like me as damage, like bow and stuff like that, and finish those off. So the gear in the hero's journey comes in 3 different levels that I've seen so far. You get the regular pieces, which everybody's used to on any server, and then that same piece can also have a chance to drop as enchanted or legendary. And as it goes enchanted to legendary, you start to get more and more stats on these items. And some of the stats on the legendary items are actually ridiculous. And the gear on the hero's journey, is relatively cheap, cheaper than I thought it was. You're really going to want to try to build that 100 HP, 100 mana every slot if you're going to try to beat Nagafen on your own when you get level 50. I found out that it wasn't just about like the stats, but actually having a mana pool to heal my actual pets and some HP to survive made a huge difference. And to be honest, if you check the vendors in the bazaar where people go to sell stuff, there are usually a ton of legendary items on there, and some of them even get close to 100 HP, 100 mana, and they'll be just a few platinum. And as you get going, that money kind of comes more freely, especially when gems start dropping, when you're getting 100 platinum or 200 platinum for selling a gem. You can really do some damage and upgrade your gear. Now my gear is not even close to like the best of anything. I still don't even know what I'm doing for gear. I just been equipping ranger type gear, hopefully sticking to that bow damage. I still don't know where I'll end up with. We'll see how that goes when I actually try to get to the point of soloing these Kunark dragons. But that is one tip that I want to give to everyone. You know, since there's no Krono and everything's tradeable, make sure that you do check those vendors in the bazaar if you're just starting out, because there's some cheap legendary gear on there, especially weapons. One other thing I ran into is that Tiny Companion and Shrink did not really work well on my pets. It's random. And then I did find out that there's a group Shrink AA for people that have pets. So make sure that you find the hotkey for group Shrink. Other thing that was kind of wacky is I guess Beastlords, because they're a Lucklin class and the hero's journey is only up to Vilius. Some of my pet spells I had to actually buy for a pretty penny. I think my level 56 or 54 pet was like 2,000 platinum, which is kind of ridiculous when you don't have any items or anything to sell and you're just kind of farming like gems and stuff. But I did have to buy that. And as I said before, you do want some type of pet focus if you're doing a pet oriented build. So at least a staff of, what is it, elemental mastery for the earth pet or something like that will increase the level and power of your earth pet. If not, like an essence of nature, which works for all pets. So currently where I'm at in the game is I've stopped at level 56. I'm trying to farm some AA. I'm probably going to farm up to 150 AA. Everybody says, you know, go to DN, Dragon's Acropolis. That's what I think is in the Vilius expansion, but I'm not flagged for that. So I'd have to get someone to help me complete the flags or do the group content flagging to get to Vilius. But honestly, my first time through, I really want to try to solo the dragons at level 60. So I'm probably just going to stay where I'm at and farm AA to 150 and level to 60, and then try to get these Kunark dragons out of the way. So just for your information, I did read somewhere that all group content should be soloable, and most raid content you can do with 2 people, and then all raid content you should be able to do with 3 people. And another tip that I do have is I've created a separate window where the general chat goes to, because you actually will learn a lot of stuff about the game just by reading some of the general chat conversations. So I think when I started out, the UI had like hits or other stuff going one window to another, and I just kind of separated so only that chat went to that. I could read it when I felt like it. So the question you're probably asking yourself is, should you play on the hero's journey? Besides faster leveling and the custom mechanics and the huge player base, I think it's personally worth checking out. Like a lot of people have said, this is the most fun I've had in Everquest for a long time. I'm actually surprised that the live Everquest and TLPs don't have some type of multi-classing set up, and maybe they will through the popularity of the hero's journey. At least 2-class would make things a lot easier. On this server, you cannot box. You can get a second account approved for a real person going through some application process. So if you want to play with like your spouse or someone else in your house, you can do that. But there's really not a reason to box. It's like trying to box on WoW, and I have 3 and 5 boxes on World of Warcraft, but it's kind of exhausting and not fun. So I can't even imagine wanting to do that on this server. I think it's really cool that you can explore all the group content solo, something that I've always wanted to do. And it's actually the reason that I do multi-box, is so that I can experience a lot of the group content, even some of the raid content solo. You can do all this with this multi-classing on the hero's journey. Also, Lucklin is coming out soon, and So the way that it works is it seems to be an account-wide progression. So in order to unlock level 60, you first have to beat Vox and Nagy, which you could get help for if you really didn't want to do it. So then to go from Kunark to Vilius, there's some group questable items you can like take your chance at getting, and some legendary items that drop from group named. So it's possible to get them or buy them. Otherwise, you can beat the dragons, and the same thing from Kunark to Vilius, and then Vilius to Luckland would be some type of quest chain or flagging system to get into Luckland. And then once you have it unlocked on your account, then you'll be able to make alts and other characters and do those zones. And that also, to me, that was one of the downsides, but I get it, is that when I'm trying to level up from 1 to 50 or 1 to 60, not only can I not actually go to 60 without unlocking something, but I can't even use like the Kunark or Vilius beginning area zones because they're not unlocked on my account. So I'll be working on getting AA, getting level 60 and unlocking some of these things. And I plan to play for quite a while. This is probably the most popular server, especially when you look at actual people playing. I have yet to go in and track the data for, Teak, the new server, which was the most popular real live server, but I don't think it's going to be close due to the amount of boxes on Teak. I think that as far as where to play with the most popular base, this is it. The way these guys are going, this is probably going to be it for a while. It's something, there's features in this emulation server that should have been put onto live EQ to make life easier and respect players' time. Just seeing it done, I'm just actually shocked that some of the stuff wasn't done by Darkpaw. Because the reason that I always thought it wasn't done is because it would be too hard or impossible to do. And we have some guys running a private server, or girls, not really sure who's running it. But there's some people in their own time running this server, making these modifications that you would think someone that actually owns the game and has programming staff would have been able to make real easy.